House in Baltimore, and welcome back. WNST here this summer, and many of you know that on Thursdays, I turn my attention to the community and charity series we do here. All of it brought to you by our friends at Howard Bank, as well as our friends as I sip my Royal Farms coffee out of my Cole Roofing mug. So big thanks to Cole Roofing and Howard Bank for doing the community and charity series. And many of you know that I sort of reach out looking for stories and stories that touch me and stories that touch people in the community. This is one that's a little close to home for me. I knew Sol Schwartz for the better part of 2 decades. I knew him well enough to argue often over the Dallas Cowboys and the Baltimore Ravens, and many of you who knew Sol from over at Halliburton Sports, or maybe played tennis or grew up with him over the northwest side of town, know about his untimely death in 2016, leaving his wife and his children, and a legacy of tennis. And he strung rackets, worked with kids, worked in the front of the house, helped me with tennis shoes, did lots of things, including argue with me about the Dallas Cowboys. But he knew I hated the Eagles and the Redskins, so we got along on those ends. Lisa Stone is in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm going to let her tell the story about Sol's widow, Eileen, and myself and Halliburton Sports, and how they've put together an annual event now. This will be the 3rd year in August that we honor Sol and do some of the good work that he's been doing all of his life with tennis players. And Lisa Stone runs Parenting Aces out of Atlanta, Georgia. She does lots and lots of work with junior tennis players, and she's here to tell us about what's going on in August. And first off, you don't have to tell me about Sol, because I knew Sol incredibly well, and I think it's been incredible. It's been 2 years, a tragedy that fell upon me one morning on Facebook like it does in the modern era, Lisa.
Yeah, it was, just awful when it happened. I received a call from a friend, and that's how I found out. And shortly thereafter, we got together, a group of us, and said, what can we do to honor this man that has meant so much to all of us personally, but also has meant so much to our sport, tennis. And we came up with the idea of putting together a tournament for kids, because that's where Sol's heart was. Sol and I actually met in person for the first time after having interacted online and via phone calls for months. We actually had the opportunity to spend FaceTime together, which is so rare in these times of digital everything. When my son and I came to Baltimore to participate in a tennis tournament that Sol was putting on, Sol was on a mission to really kind of be a renegade in the junior and college tennis world. He felt like the way junior tennis was going in this country, it was pricing families out of the sport, and he was just appalled by that. So he, Halliburton Sports, and actually Adidas got together and put on a tournament with a very low entry fee, with incredible prizes for the kids that allowed the kids to receive coaching on the court. And he actually supplied coaches for the kids who didn't have coaches with them, including us, because we were coming from Atlanta. And so when we were talking about how to honor him and came up with this tournament idea, we decided to model it after that event that Sol had put on a few years before that. And so the Sol Schwartz Save College Tennis All-In Junior Tournament was born in August of 2016, and this will be our 3rd year putting on the event.
Well, this is August 10th and 11th over Suburban Country Club. You know, I have a soft spot for tennis, let me tell you, Lisa, because when I was a kid, I played baseball. No one played lacrosse in my neighborhood. I never owned a lacrosse stick. I never knew anybody that owned a lacrosse stick. I'm being, completely honest with you. I turned 50 this year. On my side of town, it was all baseball, but I love tennis, and my parents saved up and bought me a Prince tennis racket at East Point Mall back in the late 70s, and I used the same tennis racket. I had a Jimmy Connors and, a wood racket back in the 70s, old school, and, I banged the tennis ball up against the wall in my alley, and every once in a while someone would come along that could give me a game, and we would go play. But certainly where I'm from, there was no organized, no one came along to recruit me to play in a tournament or to ask me even for money. I didn't even know where I could pay to play tennis or, indoor. My parents didn't drive, so, I am one of those guys that love tennis, had tennis courts sort of in my neighborhood. Sometimes they were in better shape than others, but I would think that that's a big, big problem if you're you're a kid and want to play tennis, where do you play? Who do you play with? How do you get a racket? We used to beat the heck out of those poor orange balls. We would also play baseball with them. But once they would dump in the water, they'd be done, and you'd use them for stickball or whatever. But even tennis balls back then were something that wasn't easy to find. If you found them, you paid for them. They were a lot of money. I think it's a little more accessible in the modern era for a kid to get a tennis racket, but to get proper instruction and play the game the right way, I don't even know where I would take my kid to do that in this day and age.
Right, and it is a problem. I mean, there are coaches out there charging upwards of $100 an hour to teach kids how to play, and that leaves a big portion of the population out of the sport, and that's no good. We can't have that. And so what we're trying to do with the Sol tournaments is to, again, keep the entry fees low. We're giving these kids amazing prizes, amazing experiences. We bring in young professional players to talk to the kids. So in Baltimore, Noah Rubin, who is one of the up-and-coming young American pro players, he joins us via FaceTime every year and does a Q&A with the kids. And, we have him on a big screen so everybody can see and hear him. And in Atlanta, we do a tournament here as well. And recently retired young professional Melanie Udan has joined us, and she'll be with us again this year to do the same thing. She does a Q&A, signs autographs. The Bryan brothers send us autographed posters to give to the kids. Wilson Tennis provides some amazing prizes. Hollibird Sports is behind the whole thing. We couldn't do it without them. And we have just some incredible sponsors, Boss Water, Turnagrip. We have an app, a tournament management app called Match Tennis that sponsors us. We have a local tennis academy in Atlanta that's a sponsor. So, I mean, the community around tennis has really come together to honor Sol and his legacy and to make sure that tennis remains affordable for anyone that wants to get into the sport. And in addition, I need to mention that, we are part of a nonprofit organization, and the goal of our tournaments is to raise money to provide grants to college tennis programs that are on the chopping block. And at the end of Sol's life, that was the mission he was working hardest on. He started a hashtag Save College Tennis, and he was in the loop every time he would hear about a college program at risk of being cut. He would take to social media and urge people to write letters and to really get involved. And sadly, the school where Sol was volunteer assistant coach, UMBC, actually cut their tennis program the year he died, which was just heartbreaking.
Well, this summer, we're going to get together August 10th and 11th over at the Suburban Club. For those of you who knew Sol Schwartz, do it to honor his love of the Cowboys, if nothing else. For anybody that knew Sol at the front of Hollibird Sports, I knew him for many, many years. Save College Tennis is the hashtag. Lisa Stone is my guest. ParentingAces.com is the place you can find out more. Give everybody where they can get all the information on this, and if they want to get involved either as a sponsor, a donator, a watcher, a friend, a coach, a mentor, or just come out and support the thing. Give me the best place to find folks, Lisa.
Absolutely. And let me just correct one thing. The dates of the tournament are August 11th and 12th. 11th and 12th. Saturday and Sunday.
My bad.
So, yeah, no problem, but I just want to make sure people don't come.
You'll be busy on the 10th setting it all up, Lisa. I'm sure you will.
Exactly. So they actually, come on out and help me hang banners. That would be awesome. The best way to find us is actually on Facebook. We have a Facebook group. So if you look for the Sol UTR, and that stands for Universal Tennis Ratings. The Sol UTR, you can find us on Facebook and on Twitter under that hashtag and on Instagram. But our Facebook group has all the information you need, including the links to register for the tournaments. And also, if people just want to reach out to me directly for more information or to donate, that is lisa@parentingaces.com.
A pleasure to have you aboard today, and thinking of Sol makes me smile. So that's helped my day along. August 11th and 12th, it's out at Suburban Club. All of our WNST community and charity reports, events, all of the tweets, all of it brought to you by Howard Bank, as well as our friends at Cole Roofing. I appreciate them stepping in and allowing us to tell some great stories about local things and things like tennis and things like kids playing tennis and going to college. The hashtag is Save College Tennis. You can learn more at parentingaces.com and also find them on Facebook as well as at Twitter. You can find me out in the bay at Toyota.com. Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We do come in crystal clear from anywhere in the world. If you need more information about the tennis or about any of the community and charity stuff we do, you can always toss me an email, nasty@WNST.net. We are WNST.net, AM 1570 and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.